So, I was reminded of something that I've kind of spoken about in the past, but I think I'm going to make a video directly just hitting it head on. Is this whole thing about natty or not, and how it's really kind of stupid. Natty or not, you can't win. You can't. So, if you are natty, right, what you're going to run into is people comparing you to people who aren't. So, I get weird comments from people, and they're like, well, you're not as big as so-and-so. And it's like, obviously. It's kind of a weird thing sometimes, too. People will be like, yeah, well, Tom Platz had a lot bigger legs than you. And it's like, no shit. That's like telling me that Hathor Bjornsson's taller than me. And then I get comments from people like, yeah, well, Larry Wills is stronger than you. It's like, yup. Or they'll name somebody in Olympic weightlifting, you know. Oh, well, Dmitry Klokov is stronger than you. Yeah, no kidding. He's an Olympian. That's like me telling you that Usain Bolt's faster than you. Such a weird thing. And then, of course, you get this weird dichotomy of people, on one hand, will message you and tell you you're really small and weak, and then another person's like, you're so big and you're so strong that you must be on steroids. Natty or not, really, you can't win. If you are, then you still get accused of being on steroids, and no one believes you. And then, if people do believe you, then you just get criticized for being small and weak. At the same time, if you're not on steroids, just sticking with this whole thing of you being natty, right? If you accomplish anything, people are like, oh, well, you must be on steroids. So let's say you finally hit that benchmark of whatever it is you've been shooting for, a double body weight squat. People will immediately be like, oh, see, it's the steroids. All right. So now let's say you are on steroids. Everything you do, people will say, oh, it's not the hard work, it's just the steroids. Yep, it's just the steroids. So like Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, they didn't get there through hard work. They got there just because, oh, it's just the steroids. So you really can't win. And that's the bottom line here. If you are natty, then you get accused of being on them anyways. And then if you aren't, then, oh, well, it's not that you know what you're doing. Your training sucks, your diet sucks, you don't work hard. It's just the steroids. Okay? And so it kind of gets to this weird point where, like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, I almost feel like, well, you might as well just take them then. Like, you might as well take steroids because you're going to be accused of being on them anyways. Like, no one believes you if you say that you're not. Which is a weird thing even in itself. That you could look at a person that has an FFMI, that's the fat-free mass index, of 21, and you're like, you must obviously be on steroids. Okay? That's weird. Or people will tell you, it's not possible to be 165 pounds at 5'9" without steroids. And it's like, really? Really, that's not possible? You know, and no matter how many times I explain to people, you know, before steroids were ever even invented, okay, before steroids existed, there were guys that were squatting 3 times their body weight. There were guys that were doing deadlifts with 4 times their body weight. There were guys that were doing snatches with 1.6 times their body weight. There were guys who overhead press 1.6 times their body weight. There were guys who did a clean and jerk with double body weight. That's before they ever existed, so you know those guys weren't on steroids. And yet, today, it's like, well, this guy, he squatted double body weight, so that has to be steroids. Really? Because people definitely can get to a double body weight squat without using steroids. I think just about every single male out there, I realize that, you know, strength ratios don't play out exactly fairly for females compared to males. But, you know, any hard training, healthy male can get to a double body weight back squat if they made that their priority. Like if you said, my goal is a double body weight back squat, you could get there. Now, can you get there while you're still doing 18 million other things? Probably not. You know, if you're doing CrossFit and you're running marathons and you're doing all this other stuff, yes, that will probably cut into the amount of time you can spend on squatting. But if you made squatting your priority, you would get there. But the thing of it is that, like, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like, whatever you accomplish, people are going to write it off as, oh, well, obviously you're on steroids. Okay? All right. So, And there's nothing you can say in your defense. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you could show your blood work and be like, look, I have a totally normal luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Guys will post their testosterone level and they're like, look, it's only 500. So what? You waited like an extra couple weeks so your testosterone level would come down? You waited a couple extra half-lives? Great. If people show you their luteinizing hormone and the follicle stimulating hormone, then they're obviously not on steroids, because that would suppress LH and FSH. It would suppress the pituitary gland. But, that doesn't change things. And it doesn't matter how many times you pass a drug test, because people will just point out to you, oh, well, you passed the drug test, but, a drug test is more of an IQ test than an actual drug test. People pass drug tests all the time, and that's true, actually. People pass drug tests all the time. If you looked at the way that drug testing is done, it's actually really pathetic. I think Anthony Roberts did a article at one point where he explained that you could take like 350 milligrams of testosterone a week and you would still pass the drug test, because they look at the testosterone to epitestosterone ratio. So, yes, you could be using steroids, low dose, and still pass the drug test. But that's beside the point, because an LH and FSH would still be suppressed if you were using even just 100 milligrams of testosterone. So, you can't win this argument. It's dumb. And in fact, actually, in reality, probably most of the time we're wrong. I have run into this so many times. I've met guys who are over 6 feet tall and they weigh 140 pounds, and they're on steroids. And then I've met guys who are jacked out of their fucking mind, and they're completely drug-free. Like, I've lived with them. They're completely drug-free. They're just genetically gifted. They're the guys that were, they fucking pick up a weight and instantly grow. They're gifted. So, like, you really don't know. Outside of the fact that, some people really do reach the extremes, okay? Guys squatting over 1,000 pounds, for reps. Yes, there's definitely people at the extremes that, it's kind of like, yeah, there's probably something going on there. Or guys that gain a massive amount of muscle in a short period of time. I remember there was an article on some powerlifter that I'm not going to name, who gained like 40 pounds of muscle in something insane, like 8 weeks or something like that. And it was like, yeah, that's not possible. Okay? But outside of that, this accusation gets thrown around so much, and it's just, I don't know what to say anymore. I feel like it's the dumbest conversation we could ever possibly have. Natty or not, natty or not, natty or not. And it's such a popular category. People love these videos. People love these posts. I just feel like it's spreading negativity. And I think that the other thing to it, too, is that you can't win. You can't win. Like, no matter what, if you are on them, then everything, that you do is just because of drugs. It's not because you train smarter, that you eat well. And then if you aren't on them, then you get accused of being on them anyways. So, you can't win it. I wish I had something positive to say in this. I don't. It's just my observation. I don't think that there's anything you can do. It doesn't even matter if you show people your blood work, you show people your LH and FSH, you show people your numbers. It doesn't change a damn thing. Because once people make it up in their mind that you must be on something, well, they're convinced that you must be on something. And the funny thing is, it's usually guys who are on steroids that are the ones sitting there telling you that you must be on too. Or maybe it's some way of like a defense mechanism or something. Like, we justify our own behavior by just assuming everyone else is doing it. Hard to imagine that anyone might just be genetically better than you. I know, that's a terrible thing to say. How dare you? How dare you suggest that some people have better genetics for building muscle? Yes, well, some people also have better genetics for being tall, and some people have better genetics for being intelligent, or some people have better genetics for being musically talented or artistic. So what a weird concept that some people might be genetically gifted when it comes to athletics. Some people are just genetically gifted at being strong or running really fast or gaining muscle easily, or for that matter, some people just genetically have a lower body fat set point. Like, they just don't gain body fat very easily. Oh no, that's not fair. You can't. Yeah, well, that's one of those things out there. Definitely there are some people who naturally stay thin, naturally stay lean, without much effort, and other people have to work their ass off. So, But, you know, it's much easier just to count everything and say, oh, it's just drugs. Because I guess it makes people feel better. So, I don't know. If you have an opinion on this, please comment below. You know, if you have a thought on this, comment below. And if you guys like the video, like the video. But this is my thought process for the day, is that really it doesn't matter. Even if you aren't on them, people are going to accuse you of being on them anyways. And once people make up their mind that you're on them, well, like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's nothing you can explain to those people that will ever change it. People then just think that you're a liar. So, whatever. You can't win. That's the point. Natty or not, you can't win.